should always consider re-releasing your content when something's not working. It's not like you can't do it. People just don't do it.
If you've created something, the natural tendency is like, I'm going to let it go and see how it performs. And like, oh, that didn't work, or it did work. And then you move on to like the next video. In this scenario, what we're about to talk about, I think with re-releases, is kind of squeezing all that juice out. But even more importantly, a video that flops, necessarily, it's not the video. It could be you retitle it, right? You could be a different thumb.
Yeah, you rebrand it, you repackage it.
Right. So you could create this exact same production that you did. You just redo it in a certain way, change a few things, and all of a sudden it can have completely different results.
Yes. And we've had that happen numerous times on different channels. There's like an art to it.
Can you give us a concrete example of that we can actually show?
Yes. So, well, Everything Hollywood, for instance. Everything Hollywood is a channel. It's compilations. It's like the best Jim Carrey impressions was this specific video. This is where we got our re-release aha moment. Was we had released it. It did pretty well, but then it got copyright claimed because he had done a song. Note to everyone, never use a song or even someone singing a song really well, because that's where you'll get claimed before anything. You always get claimed through audio. Anyway, it got claimed, so we had to cut that part out. So we're like, that was really going well. That video was really killing it. We deleted it, re-edited it, re-uploaded it, re-released it, and crickets. We're like, you know. So we let us sit there for like 3 months, 2 to 3 months. And after a while, and it was the same thumbnail as before and the same title as before.
Right.
So it's like, this will probably work at some point, but you know, let's just retitle and thumb it. And, you know, while we're at it, let's re-release it again. So we re-released it again with a new title. And this time we used our picture-in-picture format that we kind of had started to gravitate towards on that channel. We started to realize that the other videos were doing really well with this specific thumb. So we changed the thumb to that. And I think in the first 24 hours, it started like real nice, not like out of a cannon or anything.
Right.
But it started real nice. And then about a week or two in, it started that exponential up curve and took off to like 2-3 million views. So now would that have happened if we just retitled and thumbed? Maybe, but probably not.
Right.
Would that have happened if we did it, re-released it with a different thumbnail? Maybe. I have no idea. But the point is that you should always consider re-releasing your content when something's not working, because it kind of re-triggers the algorithm to serve it again. So kind of the algorithm, I feel like, sometimes puts your video in the back of the line when it doesn't perform right away. And it might take a while to get back up there. So you try and change the thumb, you try and change the title. And you can't do this with every channel, because sometimes it's like a news channel. You can't re-release something. You know what I mean? Like that's like, some channels are more you get one shot. Right. But other channels like that, like, you can re-release that content on another channel even, which we've done.
Well, and this comes up with, I have 3 things to that. So the first is, this is the importance of having more than one channel, right? You know, like I think a lot of people, they stick with one channel. They don't have a lot of room to play around with once they find their spot, and they're not willing to change it up. You know, it's absolutely, you're heading on a path possibly of dying on the vine. You know, like you have to be able to test in a sandbox.
Especially when you're young channel, because sometimes it's the weirdest thing. Now, we've gone through hundreds of channels. People might find that unbelievable, but it's not. Like we have probably 15, 16 right now, but we have gone through so many. And like so many of them I look back on and say, if we stuck with that one, it could have worked. Or if we knew what we know now about re-releasing on the same video, but onto a different channel. Or maybe even 2 channels, like we call them sister channels. So like being able to have Everything Hollywood, but also Impressionable and also whatever. And then we're putting the similar video, maybe a slightly different narration on all of them. And for some reason over here, 6 months, crickets. Over here, it's already got 3 million views and it's our best video. Very strange. Don't know the exact answer to it. But that's when it's time to re-release this one over here. There's no reason that one should have 3 million views and this one has 0. And that happens on our sister channels. They'd go freaking viral as anything over here and nothing over here. They're different titles, different thumbs. They're actually, some of the titles and thumbs worked in the past, but you know, we've on such a journey with these compilation channels. I can't figure out a freaking rhyme or reason sometimes, except that the algorithm is just triggered over here at this time. So why not be doing a lot of re-releasing because you're just re-triggering and start serving people again, and do it on various channels.
Yeah, what I think about is, so first off, this is an example. So I'd like to get these things verified, right? Because from multiple sources. So the one source is from our experience, this has worked out well. I think another thing that, you may or may not feel comfortable talking about is like the great and mighty Oz, what I call the YouTube algorithm, right? The managers behind that door. I remember you telling me that you had a conversation with one of the managers. This was years ago, right? When you were working for a larger YouTuber.
Right.
And he even mentioned that. He said, why don't you guys just re-release? I think that was...
Absolutely.
So that's coming from YouTube. That was years ago.
It's not like you can't do it.
Right.
People just don't do it.
Yeah.
Now, you can't keep the same video up and re-release it. You're going to end up getting in trouble for that.
Right, copyrighting your own videos, basically.
Well, it's not even copyrighting your own video. They'll just demonetize you eventually if you're putting the same video up, or they won't let you put the same video up over and over again.
Which is interesting because
you want to delete it first, or private it first.
Okay.
I delete it because I don't know enough, but...
Well, so what's the process? Somebody wants to go through this, right? And they're saying, look, I had a video, I had it up for a while. We all know that graph, right? That line that goes like this and then it flat lines or whatever.
And flat lines.
Yeah. So it's like, it's not being served. I think this is a great video. Or it never
got off to a hot start.
And I want to change a few things up, and then I want to re-release, or what's my process going through this? I want to know how I'm going to re-release this video or multiple videos.
I first want to say that is straight from YouTube manager's mouth, that re-releasing, starting other channels and then taking it from here and then putting it over here.
Yeah.
Something you had on channel A, start a new channel and delete it from that channel and re-upload it to channel B.
Right.
And so re-releasing is okay. It's straight from the mouth of YouTube managers.
Right.
However, no one does it. I don't really know why, to be honest. I think it's just a forward mentality thinking, and you don't want to get stuck, shoveling the same mud over and over, which makes sense. You don't want to just only focus on
regurgitation of some sort.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you should know after a little while, well, this is a good video. All the other videos like it do pretty well. Why did this one not, And then maybe give it some repackaging. The first thing I would do, to answer your question, once you make that decision of that, you think you have something better than it performed, I would basically delete it or private it, maybe add a hook to the beginning, kind of change the beginning of the video a little bit, maybe look at the retention graph, see if there's anything there, alter the video and the edit a little bit. You're already re-releasing it. You might as well take half an hour and try and make the edit a little stronger, because you never know. Maybe that was it. Who knows? So I would do that first, and then I would basically split test 3 thumbnails, which we talk about on this channel. Of one is how are my competitors doing it? 2 is how are people outside of my niche doing it that is really working right now? And 3 is your own creation. So split test the 3 thumbnails with a new title. And if you only have time for one thumbnail, do the first one, and then re-release it on your channel. And if you really know that this is going to work, like we do with certain content, we know we could probably reproduce it 16,000 times on different channels, and it's just going to keep working. Then you can create a new channel and release it on a sister channel and edit it a little more, especially if it's a faceless channel. Change the narrator's voice, do a few things. Now you have 2 shots. Because you're basically, I look at everything in volume. It's I have this great thing. Who gives a shit? Do it 20 times and then, because it's an exposure thing, and we don't know how this algorithm works. So no matter how great it is you're giving yourself a 5% chance by doing it once. You're giving yourself a 10% chance by doing it twice.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. So if you look at it like that, you can say, oh yeah, I want to do 3 thumbnails. I want to do 3 channels. I want to do 2 re-releases on each. Boom. You're at 15 to 20. Now you're giving yourself a definite shot to know, is this video good or not? Just
to kind of add on to that, right? To hit, a little bit more onto that point is, so the Law of 100, right? The book that I was reading, so Millionaire Weekender, they do an experiment, photography class. We talk about this all the time, quality over quantity, right? But here's the interesting thing. The way to get to quality is through quantity. So what they did is they took this group A, group B, right? They had same amount of students. Group A, all you have to do is take 1 epic photograph and you get an A for the semester. Group B, you got to do 100 photos and you'll get an automatic A if you do that. They go off, semester ends. They did that. They compared the photos. Group B had much better quality photos than Group A. So the idea, again, it's like, look, I
volume.
want quality over quantity, but the truth is to master that, right? To get to that point, if you're starting from whatever point you're at, to get to that point, you actually have to do it over and over and over again.
Quantity breeds quality.
And therefore doing the task, doing the task over and over and over again, and appreciating the fact that you want to naturally get better just slightly, because you're going to do something a little bit different, is going to make you that much better, and you're going to get to that quality.
It's a great point, because people always argue that, but one comes with the other.
Yeah.
And if you're doing re-releases, you're going to start saying, all right, maybe I'll make the edit a little better. How can I do that? All right, I'll add a hook. All right, well, you know what? This part of the retention is not that good. So I'm going to try this thumbnail this time. Through doing that, re-releasing, repackaging, all that stuff, your next new content is going to be 1 billion times better every time.
Yeah.
Because you're going back and doing some re-releases on some old stuff.
Yeah.
Shape it, replacing the truth. I really can't hate it, but the lines are so creative. I don't mean to celebrate it, but it's cool. But look, the more that I deny it, adds the fuel to the fire. Your delusions I desire, but it's cool.